A yellow level 2 warning has a disruptive rain has been issued for parts of the Western Cape. Large parts of the rest of the country are in the grip of a severe heat wave. Heat waves are anything but fun in the sun. Extreme heat and humidity can be extremely uncomfortable and pose serious health risks, especially for infants, children, pregnant women and the elderly. For some of the do's and don'ts, we are now joined via Teams by Naidoo, a dietitian and the founder of Nutrition Dietitians. Thank you so much, Omi, for your time this afternoon. I mean, as I'm standing to you now, I think I've just started sweating and my throat is dry. This heat wave is actually very severe. I'm in Johannesburg. I'm not sure which part of the country you are in. But what are some of the do's, particularly in terms of hydrating yourself, during a heat wave?
So it's a very good afternoon to you and your viewers, and thanks for having me on the show. And I think I agree with you. I'm sitting in Pietermaritzburg, and the temperature currently around about 35 degrees Celsius. So definitely feeling the heat wave. Interesting, you spoke about floods, so just showing the contrast in the weather out there. But definitely the do's are obvious, making sure you get enough fluids, looking at 6 to 8 glasses definitely for most of our adult population. And what you want to make sure that you do is avoid drinks that are what we call diuretics. So diuretics are things that make you lose water. So we typically think this quenches your thirst, but essentially you tend to lose more water after having it.
Where does the recommendation of 6 to 8 glasses of fluids per day, come from, particularly when you talk to about adults?
So when you're looking at that, it comes from the fact that the average adult loses between 2 and 2.5 liters of fluid through sweating, breathing, urine, and feces. So in order to compensate for that daily loss, that's where the recommendation of 6 to 8 glasses comes through. It's important in other populations, such as pregnant women or lactating women, the elderly, as well as in very hot conditions or strenuous activity. This 6 to 8 glasses is sort of a bare minimum recommendation, and it needs to be up to 10 glasses in hot weather like this.
And let's talk about, the foods that you eat. Can the foods you choose to eat affect your hydration status? Because, during this time, a lot of people actually don't feel like eating anything.
Absolutely. So we've got to understand that food contains fluid, and this fluid contributes to your hydration status. As well as what I mentioned earlier, you get 2 types of drinks. Your normal fluids can contribute towards increasing your hydration status, while certain fluids, which what we call diuretics, actually cause you to lose water. And in the sum of it, the things that you choose to eat or drink definitely affects how hydrated you are for that day.
So I would imagine the foods and the drinks, first of all, the food would be, more your fruits, and the drink would be, the safest bet would be water, right?
Absolutely. So let's just look at what types of fruit. So definitely things like strawberries, watermelon, pineapples, apples. These sometimes have up to 90% water in it, meaning that it's a nice carrier to have fluid without always having to drink water. When we're looking at our vegetables, it's things like lettuce, tomatoes, things like bell peppers, spinach, celery. All of these have a lot of fluid in it and can actually contribute to increasing your fluid intake. So the next one is definitely...
Sorry, Omar, you can continue.
Sorry, I'm just getting a bit of interference. Yeah. So the next one is definitely trying to have lighter, smaller meals. With this, what happens is that you end up having, with smaller meals, you have less digestion and less heat is produced. With this less heat being produced in the body, it has sort of a cooling effect. And the final one, which is quite interesting, is definitely spicy foods. Spicy foods have been shown to increase perspiration, which is the body's natural cooling system. So just to recap, your fresh fruit and vegetables, lighter, smaller meals, as well as thinking about spicy foods that may help to actually cool you down, which is actually counterproductive to what we think of when we think of spicy foods.
And we've talked a lot about the do's. What should we then avoid, during a heat wave?
So definitely processed foods. These things normally have very little fluid in it. So chocolate, sweets, cakes, desserts. Avoiding very large meals because, as I mentioned, having too much of digestion going on in the body releases heat. So not a lot of fatty foods, not high protein portions. And then the next one is caffeine. This is a big no-no in the heat. So caffeine is found in coffee, regular tea. Lots of cool drinks contain a lot of caffeine, as well as our energy drinks. So as much as these may be thought to quench our thirst, they actually leave us more dehydrated because caffeine causes us to lose water. And then the final no-no is definitely alcohol in the heat, because alcohol is also a diuretic, causing you to lose water and affecting your hydration status. So just to recap there, the alcohol, no. Being mindful of caffeine, trying to avoid having large meals, and then just remember processed foods are not going to help in terms of your hydration status.
I think it will be very easy for adults to, just, follow some of these guidelines that you're offering us. But it becomes very tricky for children, particularly when it comes to food. It is very easy for parents to give them, processed food during this time. What would you recommend, for a nutritious meal for a child during this heat wave?
So it's normal, healthy eating, but just remember that the more we give them vegetables, the more we're hiding fluids in there. The more you give them fresh fruit to snack on rather than sweets, chocolates, and ice creams, the more you're going to be getting fluid into them via the fresh fruit and vegetables. So I believe in keeping it simple. So definitely more vegetables on the plate, number one. And number two, making sure that they're getting at least 3 to 4 portions of fruit for the day.